Well, hello everyone. It's Wednesday and I'm running late. It's like darn near 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I feel like such a slacker today, but I had my phone plugged into charge and I go to get it and the battery's almost dead. I'm like, what the heck? Why aren't you charging? Well, the plug came out of the outlet and yeah, it wasn't getting any power to it. So I had to wait. But here we are on Wednesday afternoon. So I have spent, a couple of days crocheting and then almost all of yesterday trying to get my market bags ready for mine and Sue's market on Saturday. So with two of us being there, I don't need to bring as much as I normally take, which I probably don't need to take to begin with, but I like having that nice big variety. So there are certain things like Sue's going to bring that I'm not going to bring so that we're not like competing with each other for the same item, if that makes any sense. So I have some popular items that I'm going to bring that have to come out of the other market bags. But then I had things that, all my one-offs. I have a ton. We all know that. I have a ton of one-offs. So I was looking through my bins that are here, that the stuff that was staying home that was not in the market bag. So much of it I forgot I had. A lot of it I forgot I had. So what happens is I get a new pattern and I make some, and then something has to stay behind, when the bags get full. So I'll pick out things like, okay, I've had this at 2 or 3 markets. It hasn't sold. And I'll set it aside in another tote and put the new stuff in. And that happens quite frequently. So I had a little buildup. So some of the things are kind of like gonna give a whole refreshed look because I haven't taken them in so long. And then other things, I was like, back from like close to the beginning of my plushie journey. And I'm like, oh gosh, there's no way I could take this to market. I'd be embarrassed. Some of them, and mostly it has to do with the stuffing, like they are so not stuffed very well, because back then I was still learning. So there's some things that I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do with. But anyways, we pulled stuff from that, along with some of the new stuff that I made that I just showed you guys. And then, of course, some of my popular items, like the Beth Bunny and the Cookie Mouse and, things like that. Of course, I'm going to take my swings and, just trying to balance it out so that we're not both taking the exact same things. So, when we spoke last, I had a white bread, Mr. Bread and Butter on my hook. So he's finished. He's going to go along with the wheat bread, Mr. Bread and Butter. So this one is made out of brights. So was the other one. In white and mustard. And then I used Parfait Chunky in Sunshine to make the pat of butter. So we have another Mr. Bread and Butter. So we'll see how it goes. And I've already got them tagged and in my square. So they're in the inventory. So I made that. So I have 2 Mr. Bread and Butters now. Like I said, the first time I made it was for my very first market. It sold, and I don't know why, I just never made another one. So we'll see what happens this time. And then, I know I'm supposed to be making other things, but, you know, what can I say? I figured if I have bread and butter, I need to have some Pop-Tarts. And I haven't made Pop-Tarts. And they're not hard. You really don't need a pattern. But I did look at, I'm probably going to say her name wrong. Tammy, I think it's Tammy, Crafty Mompreneur, something like that. Yeah. And she makes a Pop-Tart. I just wanted to know how many stitches to chain and how many rows do I need to do. So I watched her video to get that information and then went on my own. So we have this Pop-Tart and it's a good size. I liked hers because it was bigger. It wasn't teeny tiny. So it's a good size. It sizes well with the bread and butter. So again, this is the Brights, it's not Parfait Chunky, Chenille Brights, Premier's Chenille Brights in white, and this is the steel cut oats. And then for the sprinkles, I just did some yellow, orange, and green in Parfait Chunky. So we made that one. Then I was like, well, you know, it needs a friend. So we did a strawberry, and I don't like strawberries, but we did a strawberry. So we did the, I don't know the shade of pink, but it is their lightest shade of pink that they have in the Chenille Brights. Stayed with the steel cut oats for the back and used Parfait Chunky in hibiscus and white for the sprinkles. It just starts to sink. But anyways, then I was like, you know what? These two need a buddy. So we did chocolate. This is caramel in the Premier Chenille Brights, the steel cut oats. And then we used chocolate. I think it's chocolate. It might be the espresso. One of the dark browns from Parfait Chunky and white for the sprinkles. So we have 3 Pop-Tarts. Oh my gosh, this tripod is going to make me insane. I haven't touched it. I haven't done nothing to it. And it's sinking again. Let's see how that holds up. If it continues to sink, I'm going to put some duct tape on it. So we did the bread and butter and the Pop-Tarts. And I did make a couple of things that I was supposed to be working on. So I did another Beth Bunny. And this one is, I'm not sure what color, but it's Bernat with Mystical in not the bright pretty blue shade, and then Mustard in the brights for the little headband. So this gives me my 3rd Beth Bunny. It almost swallows up her little eyes, but you can see them. So we have that. So I have the 3 I wanted on that. And that is, of course, the pattern by Oak and Marlowe. And I did manage to get one more Cookie Mouse done to give me a total of 3. And this one, I tried to make it look like a girl, but I did the tutu a little low. So next time I make a girl, I need to come up one more row to leave those front loops open to put the little tutu part on. But she doesn't look bad. Nobody will know, just me. and only because that it would be like my preference to have it up higher, not that anything it says that it has to be up higher. It's shrinking again. So this is the steel cut oats. Peach, I think, for this. Caramel for the cookie, and then the chocolate chips are either the espresso or chocolate from Parfait Chunky. Now, I did notice when I was adding everything into the inventory and putting the tags on them, I forgot to put the tail on my other mice, so I have to go back and add those tails today because, you know, it needs a tail. So we have one little girl, Cookie Mouse, and we'll see how it goes. We will see. So because I was kind of in the mood to make food, you know, because I did some pickles last week, and when I was looking through my stuff, I came across an avocado, which is my pattern, and I came across a positive potato, but it's really small because it's a Parfait Chunky. But those were the things, the pickles, the avocados, and the potatoes that I bought all those little tags for. I don't know that I'll have time to make any more of the potato or the avocado, but I'm going to take the one avocado with me. But I did make a couple of bananas, and this one I let Mary talk me into because I made this before and it looked like corn. So I thought, well, let me try it with yarn over. Maybe my yarn under is too tight and it's not getting that little curve that it should have. And this did get the curve, but then it straightened back out. So I don't know if that's right or not. But it's how it turned out for me. So we have 2 bananas to go along with the pickles, the avocado, maybe a potato, and I know Sue is bringing blueberries. So, and then with the bread and butter and the Pop-Tarts, we kind of have a little mini food section. So 2 bananas. This is a free pattern on Instagram. I do not remember the designer name off the top of my head, but as usual, I will link the patterns below in the description. So we have these, and I need to adjust the tripod again. Just a little bit. And then I sold out of jellyfish. So back in December, I found this really cool jellyfish pattern on Instagram that is free. And I totally like making it. Well, this time I decided, the last one I made came out small. The first 2 were like a decent size. But the last one I made was really small. And I'm not sure if that was my tension or because I used Parfait Chunky or a combination of both. So this time I decided to use Sweet Snuggles Light and Home Slim. And it's a monster. It's really, really big. Didn't take any more time. Just took some bigger eyes. I used 35 millimeter, the little rainbow eyes on this. And then a 6 millimeter hook. And then it took a lot more stuffing because it's so big. But it looks nice. I wish I had time to make 2 more because I think they'll look cool. They give you an option, like you make a chain and you can run it through so that you can hang it. So I could display them hanging, and that makes like more space in the booth. And then it shows off the tentacles nicely instead of it being plopped you know, like this, and then the tentacles. It just doesn't show off all the pretty colors. So I am going to make the chain and run it through to hang it up. Maybe I can get one more done, but I have other things that I need to do. I haven't made All From Jade's Rose Octopus in so long, and that one always sells for me. You know, it would be nice to have some of those too, but I don't think it's going to happen for me. I just don't. But we're going to try and see what we can get done. But like I said, I have other things that I need to do because they're good sellers, and I want to make sure I have not just enough for this market, but like be getting ready for the one that's the week after, because I have another one coming up the very next Friday. So when, you know what, you guys, I am like a glutton for punishment, because while I was waiting for my phone to charge, I signed up for more markets. I don't know what's going on. So, not for April, but for May. So in May, I'm scheduled to be at two times at the same place where, you know, the kids were like super hyper. Depending on how this goes next Friday. Because if the kids are super hyper like that again, I don't know if that's going to be the fit for me. If it's going to stress me out and give me a headache the whole time, every time, then it will not be a good fit for me. Well, that same market company, organizer group, whatever it's called, they're starting another new market, which is closer to me, which would be great. And it's on a Saturday, so John wouldn't have to miss work to help me set up the canopy. And it's in the daytime. So I signed up and paid to be at the very first one. And it's a twice-a-month market as well. And it's the first and third Saturday of the month. The Friday one is the second and fourth Friday of the month. So technically, I could every week have a market. But I don't think I could keep up with production. I think that'd be too much. Every 2 weeks, I think, would be tight, but an okay schedule. So depending on how this Friday goes will depend on whether or not I continue at that, or not this Friday, but next week Friday. Will depend on whether or not I continue at that Wild Child market. And then for June, we were talking about this in the live on Friday. I had my choice of 2 different markets for June. One was a watermelon festival, and one was, they call it a summer fest, and it's like the Saturday before the 4th of July, and they do all the celebration stuff. They've been doing it for 10 years. They say like 5,000 people attend. So I had my choice of which one I wanted to do, and we chose the Summer Fest. So that I have scheduled already in June. And then the 3 in May, tentatively. It's all going to depend on how next Friday goes. So, it would be nice, but I don't think I could keep up with all of it and make enough. I am not that fast, and, you know, the hands need a break every now and then. So, yeah. Glutton for punishment. Glutton for punishment. And while I was picking through my bins yesterday and seeing all the things that I've been leaving at home, I had a black and white cat in there. And it's a pattern from the pattern. The pattern is from the pattern shop that I like, Amigurumi, Estonia, that had that pretty elephant, that has that great duck. And I have so many others of hers. Like, I think the sloth is just adorable. Well, this cat. And I think this was like the first cat pattern that I bought. And I had made some other colors in it. And then I did black and white for a tuxedo cat because, you know, I can talk. Tuxedo cats are popular. But for some reason, it was one of the things that I chose to pull out of my bin, you know, my market bags, and leave in a bin. And I don't know why. But so, sticking with the, if you give a whatever, we did if you give a cat a cupcake. So, the cat is not new. I've had it around for a while. But the cupcake is new. And this is Crochet with Bays pattern. And this time I did it the way the pattern said. I just don't have any sprinkles because I didn't have like Parfait Chunky Pom Pom would be perfect for it. And because I was using Parfait Chunky, I didn't want the cupcake to be too big. The fluffy flex would have made it huge. It just would have been huge. So, we'd Parfait Chunky. And then I attached it to his little paws. But I haven't, I forgot all about this cat. That's crazy. It's so cute. With its ears and its nice long tail. So this one is going to make a new market debut. It's going to sit with the moose in a muffin and the mouse in a cookie. And we're going to see what happens. We'll just have to see. So we did that. And then after spending most of my day yesterday looking through the bins, trying to decide, entering stuff into inventory, figuring the prices and all that good stuff, I decided last night I would start a Madeline Mako Melif. Oh my, I swear to God I can talk. Oh. So I decided to make a Madeline Mako elephant because they always do well. Even though, you know, the trunks look weird, but I think all the trunks look weird on all the elephant patterns. There's just no way around it. But we did Madeline Mako elephant. And this is Big Twist Plush. I think that's what it's called. I'm going to miss this yarn because this is a baby pattern. When I do it out of Parfait Chunky, it's like maybe this big. This makes it worth your time. And it doesn't take any more time, other than you're adding more stuffing to it, than it does to do it out of the Parfait Chunky. This is actually a pretty cool color. I like how the colors kind of grouped together. And I was going to use bigger eyes, but I'm so paranoid with those backs on those domed, or those sinker eyes. And I tried putting them on, and I would push it with my hand before I would get the tool. And then I'd use the tool and try and squeeze it. And you'd hear it snap in place, but then you'd hear it pop right back off. So I'm thinking the yarn is just too thick for it. There should be more space between the back and the eye to allow for the yarn. It just, I don't know, it wouldn't work. So I used the biggest solid black ones I had, and those are the 18 millimeter. I did this with a 7 millimeter hook, and it's just like a great size. I like it. Turned out a lot bigger than I remembered it turning out with this yarn. So I have a couple of more colors. I have a variegated blue. I wanted to do a blue one, so I had like a boy color one. But again, I don't know that I'm going to have time for that. So we did that. And then the last thing that I made while I was waiting for my battery to charge, because the plug was hanging out of the outlet. I don't know what happened. Apparently I tugged on the cord or something. We could blame Toby, but we won't. But while I was waiting for that to charge, I started a couple of chubby bunnies. And I started with the gray one, and I did these a little different. I mean, the only thing I actually changed on the pattern is, instead of doing the little pom-pom that she does, I do a triple crochet bobble. I did it in the round. You could always go back and add it afterwards, do a freestanding one. String. But I decided to do the little feet a different color today, just to be different. And I went as far as, you get the first legs done, and then it tells you to put the eyes in. Well, I decided I want to put some glue with it. So I turned the the glue gun on to heat up. And while I was waiting for that to heat up, I started on a second one. And I just happened to have the yellow sitting on my desk for making the bananas, so we did it yellow and white. And then while the glue was drying on, so I made this while I was waiting for the glue to dry on this. I left the heat gun, oh my gosh, the hot glue gun on. And I started on this one while I was waiting for the glue to dry on this one. So when I got these in and applied the glue and put the backs on, I set this aside, went back and finished this one, and then when it was done, I came back to this one. But this was what I got made while I was waiting for my battery to charge, and then not to mention all the other distractions. But all of this is priced. It's all in inventory. I just need to put this in the bag, and this clears this off my desk. And I'm not so sure that I'm going to like this tag system. For the one-offs, I think it'll be fine, because you can just put the tags in the little bowl, draw one out. If it says number 150, find out what number 150 is, and that's what you make. But on the items that you sell multiples of, like the chicks and the eggs, the Myrtle the turtles, the itty bitty snakes, things like that, where you sell multiples, I had to put them in a little separate them and put them in little plastic baggies, and put that back in the bowl with, like, the chicks and the eggs for me, I think, is 116, if I'm not mistaken. And there's like 10 of them in there. But that's the sales from 2 markets, minus 2, because I think I got 2 made and was able to reuse the tags. But yeah, it is a little confusing, and I'm sure it's because I'm not used to it. But I was like, this is a pain in the you-know-what. So this only leaves one of these tags left. So I don't want to do too many, because this is the last market before Easter. You would think a bunny would sell anytime. I mean, they're really cute. And they're small. They're just the right size for, a little kid's hand. But they're cute. They're cute. They are a mini bird with rabbit ears. I don't care. That's what I see. I see mini bird with rabbit ears. And that's what I made. So they can all go in the tote bag. I have 2 more partial totes to look in and see what I have, if there's anything in there that I want to take with me, and then pick out my couple of things, that the stuff that I want to take that's in the regular market bags. The popular things like my mini birds and stuff like that. The car swings, my keychains, little things like that. But I'm not sure what are in these 2 totes sitting here. They're not full, neither one of them. They're just like taking up space. and see what I have in there, if anything, if I want to bring it. Like one of them has, that I can see because it's a see-through tote, has some leftover Christmas and Halloween items in it. So there's probably not all that much in there that I would want to take with me this time. So, what do you think? Am I making this harder on myself? You know I am. All right, so just a reminder, we have a live this Friday night, and we will be coming to you live from Crafty Sue 519's house. So it should be some fun, should be interesting. So don't forget to join us at 7 p.m. Eastern on Friday night. And on that note, I think it's time to go. So we will see you next time.